Good morning. Welcome home. Nice to have you here. I am Scott. I'll be your host for the next couple of minutes. We've got the second string in today, not counting the speaker who's first string all the way, because there's a lot of illness going around our center. So we're holding health in mind for everybody who's not feeling well, knowing that they are feeling better even as we speak about them. But as we get started, we always acknowledge the lands in which we are located. So the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. So let's see if this will today be a good day for the remote or a bad day for the remote. Oh, I'm not cursing it. I don't think we hex remotes. I think they're naturally created that way. See, look at, there we go. All right, so what we're going to do is together we'll read the top half, and then on the bottom half, because I always like to shake it up, just turn to somebody else and say, I'm really glad you're here, and just mean it. You know, so just really turn to somebody and say, I am really glad you're here. But we'll do the first part first, and what the heck, we can be glad again. Okay, here we go. Let's see here, it's 10:02, and I've already lost control of the room. Together we say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I am really glad that you are here today. And to our Zoomers, we are really glad that you are here. And to people who are first time or relatively new, we're exceptionally glad that you are here. So let's move forward with what is happening over this next week or so. And I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot going on in the other room. You'll see red showing up all over the screen because volunteers are needed, volunteers are needed, volunteers are needed, and then there's a Twice Nice sale, and guess what? Volunteers are needed. So we'll talk about the Twice Nice sale in just a moment, and then I'll call Anna up, who will fill us in detail and ask for, guess what? Volunteers. Moving forward, Better Together is our social group, and today they meet about once a month. Today they will be meeting at the Jazz Fusion at Humboldt Botanical Gardens. That'll be today from 1 to 3. I don't know what RLAD stands for.
It's Ken Lawrence, Tim Randall's on keyboards, Mike Bola on drums.
Oh, it's a group.
I don't know who the bass is. Yeah, there's preeminent jazz performers in New County.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So anyway, if you would like to join the Better Together group and make it even better together, then it's at 1 o'clock today. And the Humboldt Botanical Gardens, they're located, is that on G? Where are the Humboldt? It's by CR. Okay, that's right. All right, now let's move forward with, I don't know if you noticed, there's a Twice Nice sale coming up. And Anna is helming the Twice Nice sale for the most part. Would you come up, please, and fill us in?
Thank you, Scott, our fearless leader. I will be trying to corral you guys and get you to commit to shifts today. Saturday morning, the sale starts at 8 a.m. and we have to unload the U-Haul truck.
Friday.
Saturday morning.
Friday.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Saturday morning, the event starts at 8 a.m. in the morning, and we have to unload the U-Haul truck from the night before. So we desperately need people at 7 a.m. to help Brian and James and Mark and me and Matt to unload the whole U-Haul truck and get the outside back into shape. So that is something we'll really be looking forward to, a lot of help with. And it doesn't necessarily mean heavy stuff. So please think about being available Saturday morning. And I will be staying after the service. And please take a couple of minutes to fill in a shift with me, because we can and to remember to put it in your calendar so I don't have to call you back. Thank you.
Thank you, Rheta.
Or just bring all your friends on Friday and have them buy everything so we don't have to load anything.
There we go, pizza party all day Saturday.
I've already told my residents, so if they show up, they show up.
Yes, Donna, did you want to add to it?
Yes, please. Twice nice. Today after service, one of the things that is important to do is to clear this room so that we can load it up with good stuff. So we will need to move all of the chairs to the perimeter of this room. So any of you who are able to pick up a chair when we're done, all of the stuff in the back there is part of what will be coming into this room. And I'm available for your assistance.
What is the time, who knows what the timetable is for drop-offs this week? Does any?
12 to 5.
It's on the announcements? Oh, it was, okay. You don't expect me to pay attention to what I put up there, do you? Let's see, we can do that. There we go, with me right in the middle. So noon to 5 Tuesday, noon to 5 Wednesday, I'm picking up a pattern, noon to 5 Thursday. What was that?
Wednesday is last day for drop-off.
Okay. So Tuesday or Wednesday are drop-offs, and then it's getting everything set on Thursday, so noon to 5. Okay, good. And for those of you who don't know what our Twice Nice sale, it is not only one of the biggest sales in Eureka of gently used merchandise, but it is our biggest fundraiser. It is what helps support the center. So whatever you can do to help out would be appreciated. Oh, yes.
Can members start buying stuff now if it's priced?
I was told, in past years, we've been able to, if stuff is priced, we just need somebody to give the money to. So like I took some stuff and I'm gonna give money to.
Volunteer.
If they volunteer?
If they volunteer,
Okay.
they can buy.
Okay, wonderful, there we go. If you volunteer, you can buy. If you don't volunteer, we ain't wanting your money.
Well, I'm glad I volunteered.
Is there someone willing to collect money today if people do want to buy things?
Always.
Yeah.
Will you take the money, Bree? Bree? Okay,
Okay, if you want to buy something, talk to Bree.
so I have money for you then. Okay, because I've already given something.
Never refuse money.
She never refuses money. Your prosperity comes to you even in terms of the Twice Night sale. Coming in June, new dates. Starting Tuesday the 11th, it will be the Power of Decision on Zoom and in person on Wednesdays. This is in the CSL accredited course that will be led by Reverend Angelica. If you would like to, if you have any intention of being a practitioner, you need to take accredited courses, and this would be one that you would take. If you have no intention of being a practitioner, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you take it anyway. What the heck? But this goes to the accreditation that you need before you can actually start practitioner training.
Scott,
Yes.
can you read the name of that author, because I could not.
Sure. I think I can. Raymond Charles Barker. I think that's what it says.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm here to serve. Crafternoon will be Friday, the 21st, not this Friday. Crafternoon, if it was this Friday, would be consisting of making things out of the stuff in the room. 1 to 4, it's just people get together and they craft. They have fun. They do cool things. So feel free to join us. Redwood Pride Pancake Breakfast. We support the Pancake Breakfast every year. And it will this year be Saturday, June 22nd from 10 to 1, $15, as you can see on the screen here in the social hall. The next up, we're going to talk about, let Rick discuss a little bit again. What was that? Oh, I thought they were like birds twirling around my head like a cartoon. Rick, did you have something you wanted to say?
Sure.
Okay.
It's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I know. The microphone is over here, Rick.
Show and tell.
Oh, wonderful.
This is on the agenda.
Okay,
Do it, man.
Okay.
there we go.
All right, here we go. This is the sign-up board. As you see, there's a grid there. Yes. Now, each grid, each square on the grid costs $22. And when the grid is full, the mural will be paid for. So you can either write a check and then make in the message part put for the mural. You can donate online and put for the mural. You can give me cash. No, give walking out. You can use cash. I mean, there's lots of ways to do it. And then you can sign it, and then you can put your initials on the squares that you want to look at the mural and go, that's my square. I paid for that. Kind of like when you buy those bricks. There are 164 squares.
Is this like a football pool?
The prize is that the mural is done. So, $22 a square, yeah. So, and if you feel like being anonymous.
Except the church.
Or we all win.
Yeah.
We all win at church.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this over on the table with a pen and
To clarify, you use the little Sharpie.
use the
And you put
Sharpie.
your initials in a square.
Yes, I've already
And
bought some up here. And you can sign at the bottom. If you want to be anonymous, you can be anonymous. And
Where are
then
your initials?
on the owl.
Oh, I see. Okay, wonderful.
It's subtle, but it's there. Yes.
That lovely tree on the side is gonna be hidden by our trash cans. Wonder if she would paint our trash cans?
No, that would be extra. Good idea. Angelica perceived that was the case, and she's going to put them against the fence from now on. Yeah.
Probably pretty easy to move the trash cans.
Yeah. And I asked her if she was going to do this part, because in one of her early designs it was covered up, and she said, no, that would be extra. I'm just doing the wall. So she's just doing the wall.
How long will you be running your thing there before you close it?
I think we'll be running it right up until the mural's painted.
When will that happen?
That'll be like August, first week in August.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So what's the total on mural?
Oh, it was 35 something.
164 times 22.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to leave this over there.
Speaking of arts and crafts, today is the second day of potential of open studios if you want to support artists. They are all over town with signs up. Louise, our own Louise, she's just right down the block. She's doing it. I know my son is doing it. He's not part of the center. But it's open studios today, and then next Saturday and Sunday. Some of the artists are open both weekends. Some will only be open this weekend. Some will only be open next weekend. But if you haven't been to open studios, it's really a kick. I mean, I realize I'm married to an artist, so I have a bias, but just going to these different studios, but a lot of which are in people's houses, and just seeing how they create and what they create. It's really fascinating, and it's all the way from Garberville to Oric. So feel free to take some time. We've got lovely weather. Go support our artistic community. The bookstore. We have got a June sale, 2 books by Andrew Newberg and Mark Waldman, How God Changes Your Brain and How Words Can Change Your Brain, are 20% off. That will be in the other room. Little Pantry needs to be fed, as always. The Little Pantry is, however, allergic to ramen. Please don't feed it ramen, because then it gets very sick. But we need a lot of food, individual servings, non-perishable, as you can see. Our Little Pantry empties really quickly. There is a high demand for our Little Pantry. So whatever you can do to supply it would definitely be appreciated. And as we move into a new month, normally the first weekend of the month is Birthday Sunday and Potluck Sunday and all that. We're not going to do that today because there's no room to do all of that. But we will introduce the new theme for the month.
But there is leftover cake and some fruit salad.
But there is leftover cake and some fruit salad. So this is our theme for the month. Being the person who has to design these themes, I don't know who came up with the name Holy Boldness, but what a mess that was to figure out. But that's what I came up with.
Nice brassiere.
Oh, well, thank you. I take these images, I have subscriptions to clip art, and then I take them and rip them apart and put them all together in different ways. So that image is actually made out of probably about 7 to 10 different images all put together with effects added to it. But no, wow, Anna, thank you for that image. She's just an angel. What can I say? That's the way she's made. Now let's move forward with this. We will have our moment of peace. which will be led by Edward. And then we will have our special speaker, who will be Lorna, who Edward will introduce. So Edward, would you be so kind as, wait a second. Yeah, there you go. As to come forward and give us your moment of peace.
Okay.
All yours.
Peace.
Peace, brother.
Good morning, family. Whoops, I almost dropped the clicker and that would be disastrous. Yeah, I was thinking about, the fact that so many people are ill now. And being a nurse, we're seeing a lot of things in the hospital, like with the flus and stuff. Not as much of the COVID as we did, so that's a good thing. But I was thinking about when I read Angelica's this month at the center. She was saying how a lot of things that happen to us, we formulate these things in childhood. We have like different stories or different things that happen to us and we carry them on in life. And I was remembering for myself, at the age of about 3 or 4 years old, my older sister, who some of you have met, who's 3 years older than me, decided that she was going to cook, and she made some oatmeal. And she saw my mother put a teaspoon of salt in the water to make it boil. So she put half a box of salt in a small pot with half a box of oatmeal. And of course, it was a disaster, which she made me eat. And, and it made me very sick. And all the way up to adulthood, I actually had developed a physical phobia to oatmeal and to bananas, which she also made me eat a dozen of rotten bananas. And they would break me out in hives. And this happened mostly in New Orleans during the summer. And if you know anything about New Orleans, it's very hot in the summer. So I equated also the heat of New Orleans. And when I went back to visit New Orleans as an adult, I broke out in hives automatically on my arm. And when I jumped on an airplane to come back home, they disappeared. So I started thinking about psychosomatic illness. And, I'm not saying that all illness is psychosomatic, because they're real. They're real illnesses. People do get cancer and people do get sick. But how much power is the power of the brain, in controlling this, or to make us better or to make us worse? In the hospital, we've seen people will themselves to death. We've seen people will themselves to life. We've seen people who were written off and put on comfort care, and we expected to leave, actually walk out of the hospital or be taken out of the hospital home and they're well, and we see them at Safeway. So the power of the mind is incredible. So for my reading this morning, I wanted to take something from Lisa Rankin, MD. She's a medical doctor, but she's also a scientist and researcher. And it's another book that we had to read, Scott and I and Les. It was called Mind Over Medicine. So this little snippet, it says, back to the medical journals I went in search of more evidence that the mind's belief that the body is getting a drug or surgery is enough to result in real life symptom relief. I found that nearly half of asthma patients get symptom relief from a fake inhaler or sham acupuncture. Approximately 40% of people with headaches get relief when given a placebo. Half of people with colitis feel better after placebo treatment. More than half of patients studied for ulcer pain have resolution of their pain when given a placebo. Sham acupuncture cuts hot flashes almost in half. Real acupuncture helps only a quarter of patients. As many as 40% of infertility patients get pregnant while taking placebo fertile drugs. On a quest to find out the answer, one study compared angina patients who got their internal mammary arteries ligated with patients who underwent a surgical procedure during which an incision was made on the chest wall, but the artery itself was not ligated. What happened? 71% of those subjected to the sham surgery got better, whereas only 67% of those who got the real surgery improved. So, the illnesses are real, but our mind is very powerful. We can control much more than what we believe we can. And as we say in this faith, it is done unto you as you believe. So everyone who's ill, think yourself well. You can do it. I have faith in you. Love.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
We are the face of God. And what I know to be real is that God is not a man with a white beard hanging around in some celestial kingdom. God is everything. God is not just the physical. God is spirit. God is the life force. God is the material from which all things spring. And we are manifestations of that. Our bodies are just temporary vehicles that were pieced together by our parents so that we could exist in this physical realm temporarily. But who we are spiritual energy incarnate. Spiritual energy cannot be ill. Spiritual energy cannot be anything less than perfect, because there is only the one life. There is only the one spirit, and we are all a part of that one spirit. And that spirit will not allow itself to be anything but perfect. We are the face of God. We have to remember that on this earth. when we are faced with objectionable, questionable matters, we must remember that what we're looking at is always God acting out in whatever way that it is meant to act out and playing out as it is meant to play out for our learning experience here. And I am grateful for this knowledge. I am grateful for Spirit. I am grateful that we can put into the law that which is perfect, because that law acts upon our thoughts and makes everything manifest. And I choose to manifest love. And speaking in the first person for everyone here, I know that we are all beings of love, and we choose to manifest love and healing for this world. And so it is.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Right now, I would love to welcome to the podium one of our best teachers, actually, of this center, and a very inspirational speaker, and a great author as well, Ms. Lorna McLeod.
So this was a wonderful surprise, getting to speak to you all today. I learned about it about 8:30 yesterday morning as I was on my way to Hoopa for a funeral of a friend of mine. And so I was out doing stuff all day yesterday, and thinking about this topic, which is sacred audacity, living brave and bold. I love this topic. I know that many of you have some familiarity with sacred audacity. Maybe all of us do. I think all of us have in some way or another an experience of living brave and bold, maybe even if only for a moment, maybe in great, huge swaths of our lives. One of the basic tenets of the science of mind philosophy is that there is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. When we learn and know this principle, then we can act with holy boldness and sacred audacity to name and claim and declare our good. So just what does living bold and brave mean? Our participation in life is needed. We have a choice, and we have volition in how we engage. We can either subdue our light, as they say, hide it under a bushel, or live boldly in a vibrant manner. And among the times in my life that have been the darkest have been the times when I turned away from that light, when I got so defeated and discouraged that I turned away from my sacred inner knowing, turned away from Spirit. And it was a time of feeling utterly defeated, not knowing where I was going or what I was going to do. And what brought me back was connecting. First, I connected with my great-grandmother, who was my native great-grandmother, Annie. She was deceased by the time I was born, had been dead for a number of years. But I connected spirit to spirit with her and was able, when religion had failed to serve me, I was able to connect with her spirit and begin to move out of that darkness into a place again of knowing myself and accepting myself and accepting what I have to offer in the world. So I'm so grateful for that. And her totem is mountain goat, and I just love that, because that, talk about an animal that lives bold and brave. If anyone knows, the mountain goats live on cliff faces about this steep, you know, and go leaping from one cliff to another. And so when I start feeling at all self-defeated or a little bit less than, I look at this wonderful picture that I have of two mountain goats sitting at the top, or standing at the top of a precipice, and I remember, hey, remember who you are, girl. Yeah. So we can choose to live large or small. And interestingly, living bold and brave can be either large or small. And I have an example of what might seem like living small, but it is one of the bravest, I think, moments of my life. My husband had come home from work, and something was just rip-roaring, bugging him. He came in the door, swearing, yelling, grumbling, grouching, and yelling again. And I realized fairly quickly that it wasn't directed at me, but also fairly quickly I felt my shoulders coming up around my ears and my defensive mode coming on of what am I going to say? How am I going to defend myself against this? To add to the picture, I was in the kitchen chopping greens for a salad with a knife that was about this long. The blade was about this long and about that thick. And I'm chopping, and I notice I'm chopping harder and harder, faster and faster. And in my coaching model, there's a wonderful question. And thank goodness, I think Spirit prompted me to ask myself this question. Who am I willing to be in order to produce an extraordinary result out of this interaction? Because look, girl, you're about not to. And so I thought, who am I willing to be in order to produce an extraordinary result out of this interaction and not go to where I might have? And the response in the coaching, there are 23 different places, words that you can use as a response. Among some of them are focused, clear, compassionate, loving, attentive, courageous. And the word that fell out of all those words was loving. And I asked myself, what would a loving person do in this instance? Now, mind you, in all of this time, as he's I hadn't said a word. I'm processing, how am I going to be with this? And I thought, what would a loving person do in this situation? And as soon as I thought that, my shoulders started coming down. I went back to chopping at my normal pace. And I just listened and did little murmurs to let him know that I was listening. Oh. After a little while, he got quiet and he said, well, that wasn't very nice, was it? And I did not say, no, it wasn't. I managed to maintain the loving, and I said, And so he said, well, I'm going to the bedroom. I'll be back out in a little bit. Fortunately, it was a salad it could keep, right? Wasn't going to get cold. So about 20 minutes later, he came out and he said again, that wasn't very nice, was it? I said, you clearly needed to process. Now, had I engaged, can you only imagine what the outcome would have been? And through the years, when I thought back to that event, I thought, that was a bold decision. That was a brave decision to remember that there was another way other than engaging. Because in my family, you engaged. You fought. Somebody came in fighting, you fought right back. And it didn't matter whether it was directed at you or not. So that was one place when I started thinking about this topic of brave and bold. I fairly immediately thought about that. So we might think that being brave and bold needs to be flamboyant, needs to be some big outward expression. It doesn't necessarily. When we're faced with some kind of a difficult situation in our community, perhaps the brave and bold response might be to smile, to offer a word of comfort, to offer a bit of your knowledge. Not in big ways, but in small, quiet ways that can help. So we can live into this creatively through our own nature. And so some of you, that might not have been the response if you were faced with a similar thing. But if you were faced with something similar and you wanted not to engage in a negative way, what might your response be? When we live intentionally, humbly, and from our wellspring within, we can rise into a new moment. I love the term sacred audacity. To tune into and to listen to our own sacred voice, to get quiet for a moment and to listen to our own sacred voice. And then to say, okay, now I've heard, what would be an audacious way of bringing that into the world? So years ago, I went through a trying time financially, and my husband had what we thought at the time were strokes. It ended up being MS, but he had to reduce his work situation down. His income was reduced by about 35%. At the same time, I was downsized out of my job, and it happened to also be at a time when we had made some risky investments. It was during the dot-com, and they went bust. So from a pretty comfortable income, we ended up with about 35% of the income that we had previously had. And we needed to eventually, we tried to recover, but eventually declared bankruptcy. I did not want that to be the story of my life. So without really being able to afford to, I hired a financial coach. And again, thinking back, I think what a bold and audacious move that was in the face of what could have taken the pins right out from under me. Asking for support, asking for a possibility, and God love her, my coach, is one who is very faith-filled. And she said, okay, so get quiet. What do you really want in your life? And now let's go for it. Well, never in my life did I ever think that I would ever become a financial coach. I had for most of my adult life told myself that I was bad with money. Well, you can imagine, you tell yourself you're bad with money, what do? You behave bad with money. And she was able to bring me around to see that, first of all, I wasn't bad with money, really. There were some things that I didn't know about. And I thought, I know how to learn. I love to learn. Let me learn. So I started learning for my own behalf, but then it became so clear to me as I was learning for myself how much I wanted to support others in being able to have the transformation that I had out of the work that she did with me. And out of that has grown my Peace with Money program. Again, never ever did I imagine that I would end up being a financial coach working with people with Peace with Money. But what I saw happen was a step-by-step things started to shift. And some of those steps were big steps. Hiring the coach clearly was. Stopping telling myself that I was bad with money was a simple act, but a big one. But day by day, it was just catching myself. And so what are the questions, or what are the things that you perhaps say to yourself that stop you, that are self-diminishing, that you could bring into a different resonance of being if you were to catch it, stop it, and choose something different. And for me, all the way along the way, now since my reconnection with my great-grandmother, with Annie, all the way along the way, it's always been with some guidance. So I have, had, those of you who know me well know that I've had some pretty big, bold things that I've done in my life. Climbing some mountains and glissading down glaciers and things like that. Again, I don't know whether I would have done it possibly in the spirit of adventure, but I also, before I would get on the cliff, there was always a prayer and a knowing that I could be safe there. And Edward, wherever you are, you talked about our health, and there have been times when I've been on the cliff with my health too. And well, I think everybody knows about this one. And to be able to lean into Spirit and let Spirit guide me, let Spirit, so to speak, take me by the hand, and then for me to take the next bold move. So in my coaching tradition, there's another question, which is, am I willing to systematically dismantle my structure of knowing? And what does that mean? Am I willing to look at what I believe, my structure of knowing, what I believe, how I behave? Am I willing to look at that, and am I willing to shift, see the things that don't work for me? Keep the things that do, by all means, but shift the things that don't work. Am I willing to systematically, that means going out and looking for it, not just letting it happen to me. And then discover what my structures of knowing, what my beliefs, opinions, and so forth are. And what are the ones that support me wonderfully in living into my bold life? And what are the ones that are self-defeating? And then how might I choose? What would I want instead? Wonderful question is, if I weren't thinking this, what would I want to be thinking instead? And staying with that question until you have an answer. What would I want to be thinking instead? And then leaning in that direction rather than continuing that self-defeating thought. So the Centers for Spiritual Living had three areas that they suggested that we attend to about living brave and bold. One is inner courage, and I've talked about that, tapping into whatever your source is, whatever your spirit source is, and allowing that to bolster, to support your inner courage. And then tapping into our spiritual connection, really not only touching bases with it, but tapping into the energy of it so that it supports us well and brings us up in our lives. And then the third area is to start now with your imagination, but then with the coupled with the imagination, what is the action that you can take to move yourself in the direction of whatever it is that you want. A question that goes along with leaning into your imagination is, am I willing to be a demand for coaching? Well, now that's a coaching question, right? What it means is, am I willing to seek out support for what I want to accomplish in life, whether it's a change in how I'm being, like for me, how I was being around money, or whether it's leaning toward and moving toward something that you really want to create or accomplish in your life. And so am I willing to seek out and receive support from others being God, Spirit, our community, a coach, a counselor, a minister, a practitioner, among our wonderful community of support are our practitioners. And so am I willing to allow myself to be supported? And am I not only willing, but am I willing to seek it out? So sacred audacity requires tapping into our spiritual connection to allow us to be used as conduits through which the divine can come into reality. And I'll take this into treatment. I state this treatment in the first person, knowing it is so for all who hear it. Knowing that spirit is all there is, all that has been, and all that ever will be. I know spirit, my greater good, lives in me, guiding me, ever available to inspire and activate the brave, bold me. I know that in this presence, I can achieve miraculous things. I have already done so, and I will do more. The miracle of a smile, of joy, of knowledge, of a listening ear, of comfort, are mine to give. Generously, wholeheartedly, bravely, and boldly. Knowing that this is so, I am grateful for all I am to be, and for my capacity to love and care. I release this, knowing that it is already so, and we say together, and so it is. And I believe, Rick, are you our music? Somebody's our music. Oh, the affirmation, yes. Do we have one? There we go. Here we go. All right. I step forward with spirit, knowing that all is possible as I allow the light of the divine to shine in and through and as me. And thank you, Michelle.
Well, just as Lorna found out last night she was speaking today, I found out this morning that I'm doing the music. I was not informed of this. It was printed somewhere, but can see it. So I thought, well, what can I do? I could do two things. I could sing my half of a duet that Lisa and I used to do called On the Trail of the Lonesome Pine, which was our favorite Laurel and Hardy song to sing together. But it's a duet, and I would be missing the Laurel part. Actually, maybe I was the Laurel part. It seems more appropriate. It's a beautiful little love song. And the other thing I could do is I was planning to do a song that Jackson and Donna and Lisa and I recorded back in the 80s. It's a love song called Does It Show? And I just happened to have loaded it onto my email. And I could play it over the phone on the microphone, and I think it would sound okay. I love hearing Lisa's harmonies and Donna's lead and Jackson's piano playing, and I was playing the rest of the instruments. Let's try that and see how it sounds, and if it doesn't sound good, I'll turn it off and sing On the Trail of the Lonesome Pine. Okay?
Tell by my
song for Lisa.
Thank you, Rick, and Donna, and Jackson, and Lisa.
Divide the pay. Divide the pay today.
Okay, as we move into the final section of our service for today, it's time for the sharing of our gifts. The plates will be passed along. Please put in what you can, and always, whether you put in cash, put in love and lots of it, because we need it. While the plate is passed, the band will play. Oh, and we will say together, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond. You're always welcome to keep going. All righty. As we accept these gifts, we know that there is only one. There is only one energy, and it is comprised of us and everything that comes through us and around us, everything we see, and even those that we cannot see. And knowing that these gifts, this cash that is being donated to this center is going to continue to go into that energy, creating the thoughts that we put in with it, and we know that those thoughts are for love, for peace, for inclusion, for healing, for happiness, and we know that that is the true way of the world as represented by these gifts. So I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they are already happening, and I am very grateful, and we all say together, and so it is. Okay, and thank you for doing that. We are going to need someone to read the community statement of inclusion in but a moment. A reminder that if you would like to meet, per Lorna's wonderful talk, if you would like to meet with some support, if you would like to talk to somebody about whatever is going on, the practitioners are always available at the end of the service. We call it a 5-minute miracle. We don't guarantee the miracle, but we guarantee 5 minutes. We know the miracle might take a little bit longer, but we're fine with that. Edward is here today, Susan is here today, I am here today, obviously. So if you would like to meet with any of us, please seek us out. Let's see here. I guess we'll hold on the birthday thing until next week when we can actually do kind of a potluck. A reminder that...
We'll be pretty wiped out.
Do we want to do our sing happy birthday? Okay, we can, what was that?
Sing happy birthday, yes.
Okay, happy birthday, yes. Anybody celebrating a June birthday? If you would, if you are, please stand. And since nobody's standing, we just celebrated the June birthdays. Worked out well, didn't have to worry about it. A reminder at the end of the service, please help lift a chair and move it to the perimeter so that we can clear this room so we can have the clothing sale goes on in this room.
Yes.
What was that?
The wall behind you.
Oh, put some on the wall back here too. Put the chairs up here too.
We'll work it out.
We'll work it out. Yeah, we don't need to. Zoomers, isn't this really involving you very well? And we've got room for about 1 or 2 demonstrations. Again, a demonstration is a manifestation of something that you have put into the universe. And we'd like to get somebody who hasn't done one first. So let's start with Bev. Okay, Bev?
A About 40 years ago, I was diagnosed with a bad left knee. I was skiing and hurt it bad, and also my right knee. And I went to a physical therapist, a very good therapist, in Lake Tahoe area, and began some therapy. And the doctor was a sports doctor. I believed what they had told me at that time. And within the past 40 years, I've always pampered that knee and kind of watched it. And yes, it is sore. It gets swollen a little bit and stuff like that. And I've been preparing myself to have to go through knee surgery and get knee replacement. Well, last fall, the other thing I do have with my legs is I inherited my mother's varicose veins, which causes healing and circulation situations not to be right on. My fear in doing the knee replacement has been that I wouldn't heal properly and that it would take too long and it just would be a horrible situation. So last fall, I took one of Karen Blakely's healing meditations, and I really put my heart into it. I did it for 2 months straight and felt good about it, got rid of that feeling of fear totally, left me. And I decided that this spring it was time to go ahead and go for the knee surgery so that I can be more active. Well, I started and went into the doctor. They took the x-rays, make it to the point here. 2 weeks ago, my doctor called and read me the results of the x-rays, and she said, well, you have very little arthritis for a woman of 74. And I can't say none, but hardly any. And she said, Bev, who did you have look at that knee? She said, you are not a candidate for any kind of knee surgery. I was like, totally flabbergasted. I don't think I ever understood what that word meant before. But it's like, oh my gosh. So I do believe that doing Karen's healing meditation took out the rest of whatever I was carrying from that thing, and I've been active and feeling really good. I still do wear a knee brace on occasion when I know I'm going to be pushing it because it's a little weak, but I'm exercising and I'm good.
That is a demonstration. Yeah. Donna, you have a demonstration? Okay, short one, please.
Yeah, I have a friend that just had cancer surgery, and he made it, and he is clean of the cancer. I prayed for him the whole time they were gone, and then their son had colon cancer, and he had surgery, and he's doing good. It's been taken out, and with all the prayers that I've been putting out and so on and so forth, it's making my heart feel like if Edward said something about you can heal your own body without medicine and stuff. Well, I can do it, but it's going to take a long time because I got so many medical problems. And it keeps coming, but I'm going to do it. I got faith in myself and the church. Thank you.
Sure, we got time for one more. Judy, let's bring you up.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
I just wanted to express my gratitude to each and every one of you who helped me with my celebration of life last Sunday. I'm so grateful for the cards and the flowers and the love that I received, and I'm just truly grateful. Thank you.
And if you didn't attend it, it was lovely, and what you might not know, is Judy is a badass. Just, that's a spiritual term. Great stories. They were just a kick to hear what Judy has gone through. All right, let's bring this to an end today. We need to have somebody read our community statement of inclusion. And then Donna, I hope you will, you weren't here last week and we were like panicking, who's going to sing the peace song? So you're back. Who would like to read our community statement of inclusion? If you haven't done it before, it's just a couple of paragraphs. It's a real nice thing to do. We would appreciate it. Okay.
Too much dead air around here.
There you go.
Community Statement of Inclusion and Affirmation. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We're a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We're a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together and understand that oneness is not sameness. Together we say, we know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well. Personally, I want to thank Rick for bringing that song up. You may not know this, but Rick has written albums and albums. Rick and Lisa have written albums and albums. In the 80s, we were a pretty hot number there. And I really appreciate you playing that song today. And with that, we will stand, please, and sing the peace song.
Peace, peace, peace.